think the whole world revolves around him? That he's worth everything?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 differences between The Last of Us game and the show.
First time on a boat.
Well, it's a little bit different in the water.
One step at a time.
For this list, we're looking at the biggest changes HBO made when adapting this beloved PlayStation title. If you haven't seen the show and played the games, beware of huge spoilers ahead. Know of any other big differences we missed? And how do you feel about the show overall? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 10. Joel's journey is more personal. On the show, Joel wants to go on a cross-country journey after he loses contact with his sibling.
I need the battery, Tess. Truck's no good without one, and if I don't get to Tommy soon, he's gonna die out there.
He needs a car battery so he can reach his lost brother. After a survivor named Robert fails to deliver the battery, Joel and his ally Tess make a deal to transport Ellie in exchange for a new one. Things aren't quite as wholesome in the source material. In the game, Joel and Tess agree to take Ellie if the Fireflies give them the guns that Robert promised them.
You hand her off, come back, the weapons are yours. Double what Robert sold me.
Tommy only comes in when he becomes the best chance they have of finding out where Ellie needs to go. By contrast, the show makes it clear that Tommy is much more important to Joel.
So now he's on his own out there, and I gotta go get him.
Number 9. The timeline and cause of the Cordyceps outbreak.
So the tainted food all hits the store shelves around the same time Thursday. People bought it, ate some Thursday night or Friday morning. Day goes on. They started to get sick.
One of the biggest differences between the TV series and game comes almost immediately after the show begins. We learn that the Cordyceps outbreak occurred in 2003. In the source material, the apocalypse started in the same year the game was released, 2013. The change was suggested by co-creator Craig Mazin so the series could take place the same year as the show premiered. He believed this change would make the events more personal to viewers. A different format also awarded the showrunners more room to expand on how the outbreak occurred.
Cordyceps, aspergillus, any one of them could become capable of burrowing into our brains and taking control not of millions of us, but billions of us. Billions of puppets.
An epidemiologist explains how cordyceps function in the premiere. The second episode also moved the outbreak's main point of origin from somewhere vaguely in South America to Jakarta, Indonesia.
Jadi kapan ini terjadinya, Pak?
Kurang lebih 30 jam yang lalu, Bu.
Di mana?
Di pabrik tepung dan gabah di barat kota.
Number 8. The empty mall.
Citizens are required to carry their ID card at all times.
There were a number of minor changes made between the digital Left Behind story expansion and its namesake episode on the series. While Ellie was remembering her past in the game, she also had to combat enemies in the present. The reason why she isn't fighting leads to the biggest change to this section of the story. In the game, Ellie searches an empty mall for any medical supplies while Joel is injured.
Please be in here, please be in here. I'm not letting you go.
Her quest through the building makes her think about the last moments she spent with Riley in another mall. On the show, the flashback is kicked off after an injured Joel tells her to abandon him. After remembering that she couldn't stop Riley's death, Ellie becomes more determined to save Joel's life.
Okay, look at me. There are men coming, okay? I'm gonna lead them away from you.
Become a WatchMojo channel member and get exclusive perks like Mojo emojis, loyalty badges, priority comment replies, and exclusive members-only content, including live list rankings with the Mojo staff and peeks behind the scenes. Don't miss out! Number 7. Where Joel finds Tommy. In episode 6, Joel finally made it to Tommy, and honestly, things couldn't be going better. Tommy revealed that he lives in a successful commune and is married to a woman named Maria. To top it all off, he also has a baby on the way.
Be honest, I'm scared to death. But I don't know. I feel like I'd be a good dad.
This brotherly reunion plays out differently in the game. While Tommy is still married to Maria, she isn't pregnant. Joel also met up with his sibling within the nice commune on the show.
You draw power from a dam.
Got that working a couple years ago.
But in the game, he finds his brother near a hydroelectric dam working to restore electricity.
What the hell are you doing here? I thought I'd find you in Jackson.
Been trying to bring the plant back to life.
We had it working before, but one of the turbines went south.
In fact, players had to wait until part 2 to see the inside of the community that Tommy was working so hard for. Number 6, when Joel and Ellie are captured by the Fireflies.
Those are 3 out of 10.
7 minutes.
I'll give it a 5. 5 out of 10.
After Joel and Ellie arrive in Salt Lake City, the Fireflies catch the duo off guard in both the show and the video game. However, the moment they pick up the protagonists is altered between mediums. The game features a section where Ellie and Joel attempt to cross a body of water and accidentally end up submerged. Although the duo makes it to the surface, the immune survivor nearly drowns.
Hands in the air! She's not breathing.
As Joel tries to revive Ellie, Fireflies arrive and knock him out. The series avoids water completely. Instead, the Fireflies drop smoke grenades before rendering Joel unconscious and capturing Ellie. In both mediums, the soldiers wouldn't have to get violent if they just asked a couple of questions before pouncing on the protagonists.
You got hit pretty hard. Patrol didn't know who you were.
Where's Ellie?
She wasn't hurt. Not even a scratch.
Number 5, Tess's death.
Say who you can say.
Tess is a strong-willed ally that we're sad to lose in every medium. In both the game and show, she's bitten while the group tries to get through a museum encounter. Tess eventually sacrifices herself so Joel and Ellie can make it to safety. But her sacrifice is far more disturbing in live action. In the game, she stands up to Fedra officers to buy Joel and Ellie time and goes out in a blaze of gunfire.
Come on. Make this easy for me.
I can find
No, just go!
However, a large group of infected people, including one obsessed with PDA, storm the building on the show. Tess then decides to set off an explosion to take the enemies out. While the explosion is definitely more of a spectacle, the death still feels raw and personal.
I want your sorries.
I wasn't gonna say I'm sorry. I was gonna say that I've been thinking about what happened. Nobody made you or Tess take me. Nobody made you go along with this plan.
Number 4, David becomes more horrifying.
But the truth is, Hannah, you will always have a father. And you will show him respect when he's speaking.
Gamers knew all about David's horrific tendencies and inclinations before viewing the series. But the show made several additions that made our skin crawl even more. In the game, it's suggested that his people are A-okay with chowing down on humans. But in the show, many of David's followers are unaware what kind of meat they're really ingesting.
What is it?
Venison.
We also get the backstory that he's a former math teacher who turned into a preacher after the world ended. Based on the disturbing things David said to Ellie and what he tries to do to her, he took jobs that allowed him to get closer to potential victims. Who knew that this villain could get even sicker than he already was?
No one likes being humiliated, Ellie. You don't know how good I am! You don't know what I could have given you!
Number 3, infected abilities. Infected are all horrifying enemies that aren't to be taken lightly. However, their exact abilities differ between the source material and adaptation. In the game, dead infected often spread infectious spores in dark places. This means everyone except Ellie must wear a gas mask in these locations to avoid turning into one.
How the hell are you breathing in this stuff?
I wasn't lying to you.
While there are no spores on the show, the live-action infected gained a new hive mind-like feature.
You step on a patch of cordyceps in one place, and you can wake a dozen infected from somewhere else.
Survivors who disturb cordyceps in one place risk sending a signal to a horde in a completely different part of town. Additionally, the bloater can rip off fungal pieces and hurl them like poisonous grenades in the game. But the show version only showcased its intimidating strength.
Run. Find cover. Don't look back. Run!
Number 2, Bill and Frank's relationship.
What's your name? Bill.
When Bill and Frank were adapted into live action, their story got a lot more attention. After the outbreak, the duo began a romance that viewers saw unfold over the course of 2 decades. Their relationship concludes after Frank's body was racked by illness. When he decides his life is at an end, his partner makes sure they both leave the world together.
But from an objective point of view,
It's incredibly romantic.
While we know both versions of Bill are paranoid survivalists, most of the episode's events were not depicted in the game. We never get to see the brighter parts of their relationship. In fact, players discover that Frank hated and stayed away from Bill. Sadly, the two didn't resolve their issues before Frank took his own life to avoid turning into an infected.
He's got bites. Here. And
I reckon he didn't want to turn, so he...
Yeah, guess not.
Number 1, Henry and Sam's arc.
So, still think they should take it easy on me? Or am I the bad guy? I don't know what you're waiting on, man. The answer's easy.
Although the outcome was more or less the same, the showrunners made big changes to Sam and Henry's chapter. For one, Sam isn't deaf in the game. The series also staged the events in Kansas City instead of Pittsburgh. Additionally, Kathleen doesn't exist in the game. Her presence was the most game-changing part of the story.
And if you've come to tell me that Michael wouldn't want me to hurt Henry, that he would want me to forgive, I know that too.
In the game, Henry and Sam plan to join up with Fireflies. They ask Joel and Ellie for a team-up so the quartet can deal with the hunters that ambush travelers for their supplies. But in the adaptation, we discover the actions Henry took to save his sick sibling inadvertently caused the death of Kathleen's brother. Her quest for revenge made the entire arc more tense, complex, and gripping.
You think the whole world revolves around him? That he's worth everything?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.